teaching them to feel shame, guilt, and debasement in regard to their physical form. Man and man alone is the only creature that has choice as far as physical congress is placed. And the biological clock would tick within each body. And at the time of awakening, the alarm will gently awaken the entity. If the entity has one with whom he may share, or she may share, the physical body in an act of love, that is giving, then the alarm should be answered. For that of sexual power and spiritual power are one and the same power. Now, if there is not one with whom there is a true bond of affection or love that is felt, then this is simply an act of lust and should be avoided. Understand that when this sexual urge is laid aside through self-imposed celibacy, even on a temporary basis, then this force can be channeled to those creative pursuits that would be helpful to further advance the evolvement of the soul of that entity by allowing it to accomplish one of its ideals, or aspirations. This power can be used extremely constructive. The best way that we would know for any entities to overcome incompatibility is to first overcome the shame that they have been taught in regards to the miracle that is their body. Now this can be accomplished, and understand it would be difficult for many, but if there are those two that would know themselves and each other better, simply seek ye out some privacy. Pull the shades if you have to, and close the door, and throw thy clothes in a corner. Strip thyself of thy adornment. Gaze upon thyself, and gaze upon the body of thyself. And the mysteries of that ye have created as fantasies in the mind will leave ye. For most bodies are not too beautiful to look upon as far as man is concerned, even though they are perfect and beautiful in their godlike function. When this is done, then each should also honestly engage in a rather serious study of customs of a cultural nature that are based upon sexual practices of different peoples in many different portions of thy earthly dimension. Most will be awed, amazed, and mystified at the varieties of beliefs, most of which are of man. For the only belief that it is of God, that is, if there is love, there is no sin, and this would pertain to any combination of sexes or ages. If there is love, there is no sin. If each would study this, then ask thyself in a moment of reflection, will all these others be doomed to perdition because they do not believe as I believe? And if ye would listen to the quiet little voice that would speak within ye, ye will be told that it should be regarded as a matter of indifference as far as the soul is concerned. See.
Would you please comment on the situation of one marriage partner having continuing sexual relations with another outside the marriage relationship, yet consciously stating a desire to maintain both relationships?
Simply that of lustful satisfaction. Polygamy is always defeating, is always destructive in that of the end. Whether it is the female that would take many a male unto her, or the male that would take many a female unto her. It is simply self-deceit, for it is almost spiritually impossible to love thyself and to love many others at the same time in a physical sense. For those that are truly loving of all others naturally become celibate, not because they impose it upon themselves, but that it is because their whole purpose, their ever being, their strongest desire is for the attainment of the Godhead. And when this is first and foremost in the mind of one, physical desires are quietly laid aside. See?
If one partner desires to refrain from sexual congress and the other still desires it, how may this problem best be handled by the couple?
In most cases, the wedge is being driven because of the difference in desires. This is one aspect of oppositeness that is largely founded on self-deceit by one or both. In this case that she described, in most instances, it presents itself because one would use their body as a weapon. They would withhold it from that of the other in order to control the other, to control the situation. And woe be to those that would control others, for inevitably they must be controlled. Those that would deny to answer the physical urges and enter into the physical union simply as a physical act are to be pitied, for they realize not that there can be the true aspect of the love of God experienced in that of physical congress. See?
Problems of money are a very common difficulty, especially in new marriages,
Where there are those witless ones who do not understand that all they have to do is have a firm prayer in their mind of those amounts of money that they would have, and learn to be patient. In this particular portion of the world where ye see an excessive degree of affluency, do ye see a greater degree of happiness and contentment? Nay, ye do not. For among those tribes in the farthest reaches of forest and jungles, there is more contentment and peace of mind than there is in the society that is so-called affluent and has much of monies. If most would lay aside the excessive desire for monies, depending upon that of the purpose of the same, there would naturally be more time for the allowance of the entering in of the love of God. See?
Can an entity accomplish the same purpose without a marriage partner?
Did not Jesus accomplish the same? But know ye that he did not accomplish it in one lifetime. There were 30 or more experiences leading up to that experience where that of Jesus did attain that of the Christ consciousness. It can be accomplished by one, but in most cases the entity is simply denying itself the opportunities to meet self. Jesus, as an entity, prior to that experienced in that lifetime, did meet himself in unions, ye know.
What is the purpose of the family unit?
To live the pattern of God in the earthly dimension. See?
And what is the purpose of having children?
Simply to create more opportunities of self to meet self. That of having a child or not having a child should be regarded as a matter of choice. But for those that have decided to bring forth through accepting the gift of God in that of the act of conception, should regard the child simply as an opportunity for the further advancement of that child and of that parent and of other parents. Most parents make a mistake, for they would speak one way and live another. And know ye that those words that are spoken in the presence of a child, yet the parent who would live not that is spoken, is a parent that is a witless fool.